We now want to bring in Bloomberg's Emily Chang, who is standing by with Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi.
Sonali, thank you, and Dara, thank you for joining us today. Again, obviously, look, you can see that growth is continuing on both sides of the business, pretty strong, but that net loss, I think, was disappointing for some investors after the progress you made. Shares are down. Lyft shares, on the other hand, are up. What is the message to investors this morning?
Well, I think the message to investors is that we continue to deliver on consistently strong top-line growth and then outsized profitability growth. You saw trips for us increase 21% on a year-on-year basis. We're at a run rate of more than 10 billion trips on an annual basis, which is pretty incredible. Gross bookings grew 21% as well on a constant currency basis. Our EBITDA came in at $1.4 billion, up 82%. And that also translated into free cash flow. So free cash flow of $1.4 billion, $4.2 billion over the past 12 months. We did swing to a loss, but the significant factor behind that loss was actually the value of our equity stakes. Some of them have been marked down, and markets go up and markets go down. We can't control that. What we can control is, are we building a big business, mobility and delivery business on a global basis? Are there more customers coming to us? Our audience grew 15%, frequency grew 6%. So I think as long as we continue to deliver on our service, on the promise of mobility everywhere, delivery of food and grocery, et cetera, we'll be more than fine.
GAAP operating profit dropped by, in part due to what you described as regulatory reserve changes and settlement. What are some of the headwinds that you're seeing and monitoring?
Well, I think some of these settlements are for issues that have occurred in the past. And what we're trying to do now is operate in a way that takes into account all of our stakeholders, our riders, our drivers, our eaters, as well as regulators. And what we're trying to do is kind of try to clean up some of these past liabilities and move forward in doing the right thing for everybody.
I spoke with you and Instacart CEO Fidji Simo yesterday, and obviously your new partnership is a bigger deal now that I know that it's not just exclusive to Instacart. Can you talk about some of the other partnerships and services that you could potentially plug in to Uber Eats, like I'm thinking Netflix or YouTube or TikTok?
Well, we're really focused right now on making this work on Instacart, and this all started from are building essentially with our Uber app, kind of a super app of sorts. You can come to Uber and you can order food off of the Eats tab on Uber. That business has been growing significantly. Consumers love it. And, if they want to go to the Eats app, they can. If they want to eat on the Uber app, they can as well. That led us to the discussions that we had with Fiji that we talked about. The focus right now is really making sure that our Instacart partnership works, right? Instacart has very, very strategic customer base in the suburbs where we're already growing, but we want to grow faster. And really, that's going to be the focus. But the technology that we build allows us to essentially embed an absolutely first-rate Uber Eats experience into other apps as well. So you could imagine embedding in entertainment apps or sports apps, et cetera. And when you're hungry, ordering Eats right in that app. So that is absolutely something that we could deliver technically as a result of a great job of our engineers. But right now, the focus is let's make Instacart work. I'm sure there'll be some growing pains. There'll be some tuning to do in terms of the tech and the experience, and then we'll go from there.
Interesting. There's this Tesla Robotaxi news out of China, and obviously your story with autonomous vehicles has been a little up and down. Will we ever see Tesla Robotaxis on order on Uber?
Well, we would certainly welcome it. Our view as it relates to autonomous is this is a technology that holds great promise, both in terms of expanding our marketplace, lowering prices, making transportation available safely to more and more people. It's taken much, much longer than anyone imagined. We don't operate in China, so to the extent that Tesla operates a robotaxi fleet in China, that's not something that we would engage in. But what we have told the AV industry is that we're here to partner. and you can essentially plug in your vehicles as long as they're safe, as long as regulators are aligned as well, into our network, and the demand that we bring and all the services that we built in terms of matching and routing and pricing, we can bring that all to you day one. That results in higher utilization. Your cars will get more rides. And if there's a Tesla owner, car owner who wants to put his or her car into the Uber network, they'll make more money than if it wasn't in the network. So we love to work with all players. We have a lot of respect for Tesla. There are a lot of Teslas in our fleet already. So we'd absolutely welcome safe Tesla autonomous cars in our fleet too.
And, I'm hearing just anecdotally more and more people who are taking Waymo, and you do have a partnership with Waymo. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that partnership works financially speaking? Like, does Waymo get paid a fee for referring rides to Uber? Do you operate a fleet of Waymos? Like, what's in it for you as an aggregator?
Yeah, it's we don't disclose the financials, so to speak. We operate with Waymo in Phoenix, and actually we operate both on the mobility side and on the delivery side. So Waymo's in Phoenix are taking Uber riders, and they're actually now delivering food to eaters as well as we expand the use cases there. And I think what you can imagine the model being, and this is not specific to Waymo, is just like we have a take rate with human drivers, right? About 79% of our gross bookings go to drivers and couriers and merchants, and we keep about 21% of it. That kind of a model will be true for autonomous as well. So we will have a fair take rate. We will drive a ton of business to these autonomous players. And again, what we're already seeing with some of our partners is higher utilization, more business for the driver, so to speak, whether that driver is a human or ultimately a robot.
Uber is such a bellwether for what's going on in the global economy. Inflation has stalled at a rate that some folks feel is too high. What's your read on the broader economy, and especially in an election year?
Yeah, Emily, I'd say so far so good. We read all the news that you do, and we talk to many, many partners out there. We're not taking price, so to speak, or we want to take as little price as we can. Our transactions grew 21%. Our gross bookings grew 21%. We want to grow based on expanding our audience and increasing frequency. And when we look at our customer base, you look at the volumes, 21% growth this quarter. Next quarter, the midpoint of our guidance, it's between 20 and 21% growth as well. So we see very consistent growth. We don't see consumers trading down. We don't see eaters trading down at this point. We do see a lot of strength in terms of our Uber for business, so to speak. Corporations are getting back to work. We see a lot of strength during workday, commute, et cetera. People are going back to the office, maybe a little more slowly than we'd like, but people are definitely going back to the office. So at this point, we don't see signs of consumer weakness. There are some merchant partners who we talk to who are focused more on lower value or cheaper products, et cetera. They may be feeling it, but at this point, Uber volumes remain healthy, and kind of the nature of that volume remains healthy as well.
And just last quick question, I have to ask you about Uber Teen. I'm a mom, you're a dad. Obviously this could be game-changing for working parents. How big a business can this be, and why should I trust my kid with you?
Well, we think it can be a very large business, and it's turning out to be a very large business as well. And the reason is, Uber has, we think, industry-leading safety characteristics that really no one else has. So with Teen, first of all, you as a parent have to invite your teen. When we offer Uber Teen as a service to only the best rated drivers, there's a pin to make sure that your teen is getting into the right Uber. You can track the Uber as a parent. I track my kids as well. It's a great experience. Make sure they're picked up okay. Make sure they're dropped off okay. And you can reach out to the driver directly as well. So all of these safety features put together, I think, will help put parents' mind at ease. It's been one of our most beloved launches out there. And right now, we're just looking to expand it into more markets because the demand is absolutely there.
All right. Got it. I haven't tried it yet, but I think maybe you just convinced me. Dara Thank you. Dara, thank you so much for joining us. As always, really appreciate it.